Hey everybody, it's your old pal John from Humor and History. I hope you're doing well. I apologize for not uploading as frequently as I used to. It is because I'm busy at work. And, when you're busy at work, that's a good thing. But here we have everyone's favorite personality that you love to hate, and I actually enjoy, but he's helpful to me because I believe he bridges gaps. So this is 8 words Americans surprisingly don't use, part 1. I think I got it right up to the point at the beginning. Now, I haven't seen these, so a lot of the new people who are watching, you should know that my comments are just what I see in live. I don't edit these videos, so if I say something wrong, it could be just a mistake. So bear with me. Be kind.
Very same, but in reverse. Here are 8 surprising English words that Americans don't really use.
Angry.
With some of these words, you can almost hear them in an American accent, and with others, you really can't. And I'd say the latter is true for the word argy-bargy. And right now, there are probably a lot of Americans thinking, that's not a real word, you are a liar, Lawrence Brown.
I was thinking that.
I'd think that too if I hadn't grown up in Britain, but argy-bargy is a real word, and it means to get into a real audible argument with somebody. And while it sounds like a humorous word that belongs in Monty Python or something,
no, that sounds like a word that sounds like you. Yeah, that does sound like two people getting in verbal fisticuffs, or verbal jousting, or a louder disagreement.
Argy-bargy can be a pretty serious matter. See also handbags. You're confused, I can tell. That's okay, but after this video, I just want to hear Americans using argy-bargy in a sentence, because just how weird would that be? Argy-bargy. Because you really sound out your R's, and it just takes it to a new level of completion.
He's not wrong, I'm sure.
I think it's well known that Britain is well known for its well-known rainfall. And almost every human on the island has to have some way of protecting themselves from that rain. And I'm not just talking about bush shelters, although that is my preferred method. No, I'm talking about umbrellas, like the invisible one that I apparently have here. Umbrellas is, of course, the standard name that I think we both use in Britain and America. But in Britain, we also like to use the word brolly. It just sounds nice. It almost gives a sense of quaintness to the rain. In America, for the most part, I think you have a different relationship with rain. And that could be because in many parts of the country, when you get rain, it absolutely belts it down for 5 minutes and then stops. So you don't even need an umbrella in that situation. I don't know where I'm going with this, because Americans definitely use umbrellas. They just never called them brollies. What they did call them at one point in time was a bumbershoot. Some Americans that I've spoken to think that bumbershoot was a British word, but it turns out that it was actually coined in the United States, and most British people have never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. I've actually never heard of that word. Brolly, I wonder if it comes from like umbrella and then take the end of it like brella, brelly, like umbrella. Well, anyway, so makes sense. But yeah, we don't use umbrellas very much. It rains hard, and the reason that we like the rain, or not, why we like the rain for the most part, is because a lot of us have in our family history have been farmers. And that's how everyone who comes over starts. They're usually a farmer of some kind. We need the rain. So sometimes there's no rain, and it's a problem just because of the soil we have. So a lot of people are okay with the rain. Many Americans are farmers. Now it's more large farming corporations, but we do like the rain. Cheeky, I always get this wrong.
This used to be a big part of my vocabulary. Because in Britain, if you call somebody cheeky, that just means that they are a little bit mischievous.
Yeah.
They're sort of adorable in a I can't believe you did that kind of way.
Yeah.
And so it's often coupled with an equally mild insult like sod or so-and-so.
Oh.
You cheeky little so-and-so. Sorry, Mum, that was the best impression I could do.
I thought he was going to say like cheeky bastard.
And as I sit here now just sort of reacting to these words, I can't really think what the American equivalent would be. Oh, you cheeky little so-and-so. That sounds weird, so there's got to be an alternative. I can't think of any, so just let me know in the comments below. And while we're on the subject, just a cheeky shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a
So for us, cheeky we wouldn't really say that, because it seems kind of, I don't know, un-American to call somebody sneaky. We would say, oh, you sneaky bastard, and we would just say it like that.
Patron of Lost in the Pond wrap, plastic wrap, or cling film does work on either side of the pond and is very effective for shutting up YouTube sensations.
Sorry.
Don't try this at home,
Don't
folks.
do that,
There's
never.
a bit of a breathable hole. I'm just going to see, should I do the rest of the video like this? Probably there's a bit of a glare.
I think I skipped ahead too
I don't know why
far.
I did any of this. It was just so that I could show you that cling film is exactly the same on either side of the pond, no matter what we call it.
There are better... Yes, true. He's not wrong about that. You guys would agree. So, yeah, we would call it cling wrap. We call it... There are different kinds of cling wrap. Some of them do stick better than others. They're just different kinds. Okay. It's similar. Got it. Yeah.
Next up, and I can't even read it because that's in the way. Next up, flyover.
Flyover?
Where I grew up, in the English town of Grimsby, there is a part of road that you're driving along and suddenly it goes up over the stuff underneath it. And my whole life, this was referred to as the flyover. And it was magical when I was a kid, because when we drive over it as a family, I imagined we were in the film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, which makes no sense. The cars don't actually leave the ground. But when you're a kid,
It makes
you hear
some
the word
sense.
flyover, and the car is going up, you can very easily convince yourself that you are, in fact, Dick Van Dyke.
Okay, we would say causeway. That's just what we say. There are many of them in the United States. A causeway just goes over something. But again, though, to be fair, we have weird names too. We drive on the parkway and we park on the driveway. So, everyone's got their own things that are weird.
I quickly learned that in America, where these things are very commonplace, the word flyover isn't used. Instead, they refer to it as an overpass. And that's probably sensible, because Americans
overpass,
do use the word flyover when referring to flyover states, as in states in the middle of the country that you bypass when flying from, say, New York to San Francisco.
Yeah, so, okay, overpass is fine. Causeway is fine. We don't use causeway as much as we used to, I think. But yeah, overpass would be a better word. He's really right there. Flyover states is funny though. They're states that you just fly over, like Oklahoma.
Just like America, Britain has its own words when it comes to food. Think of chips instead of fries. But it also has words specifically pertaining to the eating of food and the feeling of being hungry. And one of those words is peckish. Just about every 11 a.m. that I spent in Britain would see that word emanate from my lips. And I can already hear my wife's cousin Chad going, "What does it mean, Lawrence?" but in an American accent. And peckish just means hungry. So for example, I'm feeling a bit peckish, I might have a nibble, and for some reason I imagined Hannibal Lecter while I said that. So to clarify, we do use it about food and not people. And before we get onto this, I have heard it said that the word peckish did used to have a bit of traction in the United States, but it's become archaic.
I would have thought it was just like picking at your food, but it's peckish, so okay. New one for me.
Anyway, potatoes. This, as it is a potato that is straight out of the bag. Nothing has yet been done to it.
Right.
There are many things we could do to this. We could fry it, we could roast it, we could boil it, or we could make it into what Americans refer to as a baked potato. And it makes sense. You are, in fact, baking it in the microwave, usually, because I'm lazy. But it did take me a few goes at describing that very type of potato to Americans before I realized that we don't call it the same thing. To us, at least in England, that would be called a jacket potato. And why jacket? Because we're constantly thinking about the weather, but also because when you cut it in half, the sliced skin looks like a jacket round the potato, which I suppose is just another way of making our food feel like people. Don't tell Hannibal Lecter that.
My food doesn't feel like
people. Now for
feels like animals sometimes.
The final word, a word that I've seen all week on news outlets in both Britain and America, and the very word that prompted this entire video, and that word is queue. Thousands of people stood in line to say goodbye to our longest reigning monarch. And this very quickly became the most British thing ever, because something we like even more than rain is queuing up for stuff. ideally in the rain, so long as you've got a brolly and a jacket potato. And the queue became such a prominent part of the week's headlines that its very definition seems to have evolved before our eyes. I can almost imagine a world in which, 10 years from now, people will use the queue to refer specifically to that time that they queued up for 407 years to say goodbye to Liz 2.
All right, I'm going to stop him here. All right, Q, yeah, I am a little shocked. Not shocked, but bewildered a little bit that there is such a thing. We call it getting in line, I guess. All right, you call it in queue. If you get in queue for, you call to get customer service for something, you're in a queue. I didn't realize it was such a big deal. I guess I just still don't understand why queues are such a big deal. And why people get really upset. I mean, I don't know why is there all this queuing or standing in line here in the U.S. We really don't care. We just go, oh crap, that's a long line. I don't think I want to do that, and we just walk away. But I don't know. I guess when I go to Britain, I'll figure it out, or I'll start to understand it. But anyway, that's that. All right, guys, don't hate on him too much, because to me, I find him helpful, and he is bridging the gap between us, I think. He does get a lot of hate, but remember, please don't take it out in the comment section, and, only say something if you have something nice to say. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.